Hello, Saints from the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. This is Micah from the Two, and today this is going to be a video explaining the Macro Last Day Timeline book that my wife and I are putting together for free, and how it's going to be implemented and brought forth onto YouTube and other locations. So this is our family website. This is what you're looking at here. tiehigh.com or the2.com, right? That's what you're looking at there. If you go over to this section here, you go down to church, okay? This is where you're going to see all of our church papers, right? So if you want understanding Revelation, you click on this image. You want understanding Isaiah, you click on this image, right? It'll open up a new tab, I suppose, and then it'll give you all these different things. They'll give you the audio file, the PDF and Word of whatever you're looking for, right? So that's how this works. If you scroll down here to the bottom, you will find the new Three Brothers as well. The book club right now, we're doing Approaching Zion. And so this is how you're going to find all this stuff. Resources is just good, handy resources to help you study, like the church's student manuals and stuff like that. So anyway, so that's how this is broken up. But this is the one that I wanted to draw your attention to, the Macro Last Day Timeline book. So you click on it, you open it up. Here we are in it. Okay, so the way this is going to work is that at the very, very top, we have the work in progress. This is, as we work on it, we're going from, start to finish. This top part here is going to be where we have the master file. So every time we update anything in the book, this is going to get updated as well, okay? This has everything that we have currently on the book in one location that we're putting out, right? There's obviously other stuff that we have that we're sitting on, but this is what we feel comfortable kind of putting out at the time, right? Always check to see the version numbers here. Version 1.09 is where we currently are. The next version number will be 1.10 and then 1.11. Like that's how this, that's how this increases, so that we can give ourselves 100 version numbers before we have to get to version 2.00, right? So that's how this works. Hopefully that makes sense. In here, you'll be able to see the current visuals that we've produced for the book, and they're going to go here. The gallery of visuals, that's going to go here. Now, the way that we've broken up this book is the beginning has a preface, and the preface is where all these visuals come in, and basically a brief building of how we go about building the Macro Last Day Timeline. That's how the beginning of this works. And then we have the actual book, and the book is going to be basically how we dive into all this information and really start to flesh it out and prove these points. Like that's what we do in the book. Now, the book, the way it's going to be set up is there's going to be categories or sections. So section 1 is actually entitled Urgency. The website actually currently is not updated to show that, but it will show that. So we are updating the website too. So the section 1 or category 1 is entitled Urgency, a sense of urgency. And then it's going to have chapters in that section, right? So it's going to have chapter 1, Times of the Gentiles, chapter 2, Zion, chapter 3, Disobedience Necessitates Suffering, etc., etc. And that's how it's going to go. Then we're going to have a section number 2 or category number 2. It's going to have a name, right? And we're currently up to, I think, section 4 or section 3 or 4 at this time. I can't remember, and each section will have its own chapters in it. So hopefully that makes sense. And the updating of it will be exactly the same way. So we'll have section 1, Sense of Urgency, master copy, and that will have all of the things in it. It's currently not here. It'll have all of the chapters in it, right? And it'll have a version number on it. Then we'll have chapter 1, Times of the Gentiles. It will have its own version number. So if we find something in, let's say, the Times of the Gentiles, and we go, we found an error, or we have another section that we want to add to it, we'll update it. We'll change it to version 1.05. Then we will add it to the master file for category 1's A Sense of Urgency, and then re-upload that and give that one a new version number as well, right? But the version number for chapter 2, Zion, it would stay the same. Chapter 3, it would stay the same. So hopefully that makes sense, like how we're doing that as we're upgrading it and redoing it. This will enable us to compile a lot of the work into a manner that's a lot more organized, a lot more that would make a lot more sense for a reader who's going to read something from start to finish. The other thing that we're going to be doing as this is going on is as we do a chapter in the Macro Last Day timeline, such as Time of the Gentiles, this chapter here, for example, when I record the video for it, what I will do is I will make private my previous videos on the same subject. So I have another video called The Times of the Gentiles, and similar other videos. I'm going to just basically make them private because this will be a much, as far as YouTube's concerned, I'm just going to make them private. And this is going to be the new thing moving forward. So basically, if there is work that I already have on YouTube that is gone over in this, I'm going to basically just try to compile it into this book in a way that will enable me to update it and will be the most correct, right? Some of my earlier videos, I would say Times of the Gentiles fulfilled versus, not fulfilled. I would say Times of the Gentiles ended, and that's actually not a correct way of saying it. Is actually Times of the Gentiles is fulfilled. There was some errors like that, some lazy errors. Most people don't understand the definition or the difference between Times of Gentiles, begins, Times of Gentiles enters its fullness, Times of the Gentiles is fulfilled, Times of the Gentiles ends. Like, people don't know the difference between them. And so, I would lazily say things like, for all intents and purposes, what you should understand that the Times of Gentiles has ended, right? And but it hasn't, because when people hear the Times of Gentiles, they only think about the Times of Gentiles fulfilled. They don't understand the difference between the two. It's kind of like how when we talk about the second comings of the Savior. And, when I say the second coming that members need to be worried about is Adam Arayam and New Jerusalem, then, people, that's kind of a lazy way of saying it because they're all the second coming of the Savior. So it's like, these are the specific comings of the Savior that we should be the most worried about, right? Like, that's more of a correct way of saying it because, but most people, when they think of the second coming, all they think about is the great and dreadful day, right? And so it's like, no, instead of thinking about that, you need to think about this. And so there's some kind of, I would call them grammatical errors or lazy errors on my part, or ambiguous language that over time I have cleaned up and changed. And so that won't be included in the Macro Last Day timeline. There also is some things that I included in the original Macro Last Day timeline that were a little bit more speculative in nature. So they were, things that I believe I had a harder time proving using only the Pyramid of Truth, right? The words of Jesus Christ, the words of Joseph Smith, the words of the Standard Works, the words of the Keys. That's the Pyramid of Truth. If I found I had a too much of a difficult time doing that, I just tossed it and I just left it into the realm. What we have left here are things that I believe that we can convincingly prove using the Pyramid of Truth. And that's all that I'm going to be doing. Anything beyond this goes too far into the realm of speculation, in my opinion. So I'm going to stick with this being what I do. So anyway, this explains, hopefully, when people start seeing the Macro Last Day timeline, Chapter 1, Times of the Gentiles, or whatever, when they start seeing these videos start to crop up on YouTube, and then they start to see other videos of mine are no longer visible or no longer available, hopefully it'll begin to make sense why that's the case. I believe this will clean it up, make it a lot more organized for people, and will make it a lot easier for people moving forward this year, because I really want to try to finish that this year. Getting all this information in one location in a way that makes sense. So obviously bear with us as we be patient with us as we update the website. We do all this for free. This is provided for free, right? We're not going to take money for it, right? We're not here to practice priestcraft, and there is an and in that, not an or, right? They set themselves up as a light to get the praise and the gain, right? Both. It's not an or, right? Let's not change and wrest the scriptures. And we're not gonna get gain and then get that gain and then do charity with that gain and then tell the world about that charity so we can also get the praise of the world, right? We're not going to do that either. So we're not involved in priestcraft. We're going to try to steer away from that. But because of that, this is mostly a two-man operation, me and my wife. And so people, please bear with us as we update things and we work from the ground up. We're also really involved in other things such as the book club, Fireslides, and the School of Joseph's Boys that's taking place on Discord. So we're very busy. So please bear with us. Be patient with us. And we will be updating this and making it a lot more clear moving forward. So just so you're aware, when you start to see these things crop up on YouTube, that's what's happening. Okay? All right. God bless. Godspeed. We love you. Keep the faith. We'll talk to you again real soon.